Hi there, and welcome back to the studio. Today I'll be covering VSigFile version 2.4.9, the very last iteration ever to be used on Eventide's legendary DSP series platform that culminated with the venerable H8000FW. Let's get into it. Well, you've asked for it, and now you're going to get it. In this video, we're going to cover what VSigFile is, what it isn't, and most importantly, what it requires to be able to use it like a pro. VSigFile is a computer-based modular sound design program used to create, edit, and store algorithms on Eventide's open platform-based signal processors. This officially includes every 2U device from the innovative DSP-4000 all the way up through the venerable H8000FW. Now there's a new version, 3.3.3, which can be used exclusively with the H9000, but in keeping with this video series, we're going to be discussing version 2.4.9, which was the final iteration released for the H8000FW. In contrast to the librarian-style editors used with processors such as the GT1000, the Line 6 Helix, the Headrush pedal board, and the Fractal Audio Axe effects, which provide a virtual gear warehouse of fully formed effects, emulations of amps, cabinets, microphones, and impulse responses, VSigFile provides the fundamental building blocks of effects design, allowing the artist to not only shape the sound, but to decide how to control its parameters and create the on-screen user interface associated with it. Understanding those fundamental differences is critical to how you approach working with this software. Many of the common complaints will simply evaporate once you take a look at this program and understand what it actually is, versus what you'd imagine it to be. Common complaints about this program are as follows. It's boring. Building effects takes too long. Eventide should release videos on how to use it. And VSigFile should have a more polished interface, like Axe Edit. Let's address these issues in the most efficient way possible. In this case, it happens to be in reverse order. And if you stick around and listen through, you'll find out why. Axe Edit and other software like it looks great, offers you an express, intuitive way to construct the rigs of your dreams out of prefabricated processing blocks and save them as presets. It essentially deals with the macro, allowing the selection and routing of fully formed, polished virtual products whose real-world counterparts may be found in a vintage music shop or the Sweetwater warehouse. VSigFile allows you to create novel aggregate effects from the ground up, using a combination of signal, control, and interface modules. Here, you're essentially inside the rack chassis, or the pedal housing, creating the effect of your dreams. To put it simply, librarian software lets you loose in the music store, whereas sound design software lets you loose in Radio Shack. Librarian software gives you the gear. Design software gives you the parts. Naturally, the Boss OD1 will look a lot sleeker than the raw pile of parts it's constructed from. Once considered from this perspective, it's easy to put the complaints about the interface, based largely on uninformed comparison, to rest. It should be noted, however, that once an effect is created to your liking in VSigFile, it can be saved as a finished product, a macro block that could be used again and again, known as a super module. Once you've created a number of supermodules, they can be arranged in relation to one another however you'd like, effectively allowing VSigFile to be used as librarian software, with one major difference. Every block has been designed by you, from the way it sounds, to the range of its function, to the way it appears and can be controlled from the machine's on-screen display. But do you really need this level of control? Well, this is a question only you could answer for yourself. In my experience, and in the experience of those who have lived with this software since 1994, the fact is, most people don't. They're happy with the effects provided by the processor of their choice, and don't really adjust them beyond making small parameter tweaks, or possibly rearranging how they're routed. Most buy pedals, some modify them, few build them. And that's pretty much the same split we see when it comes to multi-effects. Now, if you're the type that's looking to go further and build something of your own, stay tuned. You've got your work ahead of you. Just as having the components to build a pedal won't give you the knowledge of how to build one, having the raw modules provided by VSigFile likewise will not give you the knowledge of how to create your own effects. Of course, you could download a simple preset from the H8000FW and try to learn by examining its internal architecture, just as you could open up a pedal and try to see what makes it tick by examining its components and tracking its signal flow. Or you could familiarize yourself with the science of signal processing and effects design and gain the knowledge that will allow you to appreciate and make use of what a powerful tool VSigFile actually is. Now, if you're ready to take on this challenge, here are a few resources and suggestions to help expedite the learning process. Read Multi-Effects for Musicians by Craig Anderton.
Mr. Anderton.
Watch Introduction to Synthesis Parts 1 through 3 by Dean Friedman. Read The Digital Delay Handbook by Craig Anderton.
Mr. Anderton.
Read and follow along with the Programmer's Manual and the VSigFile User Manual provided by Eventide. Examine the block diagrams in the manuals of your favorite vintage effects processors and try to reproduce their architecture in VSigFile. Reference the modules manual that came with the Eventide Orville when attempting to create your own effects. And most importantly, never get too high and mighty to come back to basics. Every lasting structure is built on a solid and stable foundation. Remember, VSigFile is the tool. You are the craftsman. What you're able to do with it is directly proportional to your knowledge and skill. Learning from the spring of information that I've just mentioned and applying it is sure to yield quality results. So, why hasn't Eventide made any videos? Well, put simply, those who have a background in sound design can just take a look at the manual provided and get started right away. For those without a sound design background, even 1,000 videos on how to use the tool won't bring them a step closer to building their own functional algorithms. What people are effectively asking for, whether they know it or not, is for Eventide to provide a course in sound design using VSigFile as the vehicle. The fact is, there really isn't enough demand, nor do they have the time or resources to allocate to producing and distributing such a course. In their defense, you've got 1,500 plus presets that come stock with the machine, ready to go. You could tweak each one as you see fit, and even select how many parameters will be made available to you by setting expert mode anywhere from 0 to 9. Designing effects using VSigFile is non-essential to being able to enjoy and use the H8000FW on a professional level. The program is simply made available as a bonus for those who desire to control the machine to the same degree granted to its developers. One of the major points to making this video is to clarify what this program really is. If you're truly interested to learn more, after coming to terms with the actual function of the tool, be sure to check out the resources mentioned earlier, which are also posted in the description. Doing so will certainly shed light on the path to mastery. Whether or not to walk it at that point is your choice. Now it should be clear why we address these complaints in reverse order. And if it's not, let's look at how the other two just simply melt away. It takes too long, and it's boring. These are not the qualms of sound designers. These are the qualms of musicians who wandered into the Mac factory, expecting it to be the Mac store. And that's okay, because admittedly, not much has been done to clarify that fact. Hopefully with the release of this video, we can put the versus mentality and complaints born out of unrealistic expectations to rest and instead spend more time using the equipment of our choice to produce the music of our dreams. The fact is, the H8000FW provides 2 world-class stereo processors that could be routed in any way that you choose, even being able to combine their individual resources to create enormous, stellar quality effects in its trademarked monolithic tandem mode. That should keep any seasoned engineer busy for the rest of their life without ever brushing the dust off the cover of the programmer's manual. All that being said, I suppose I should show you how to use it, right? If you're still with me after all that, you don't have far to go.